Hi there. I just finished up a whole week's worth of state of the industry videos leading up to the Warner upfront last week, the panel on Wednesday. So what they said and did at the panel didn't really come as a shock to me, and everyone else was really upset about it, but I think I know what they're doing, and there's no cause for alarm.
Talking about the Dunkin' Egg delay,
Yep, that
right?
we didn't get a Dunkin' Egg trailer and we got a delay, that this is all gonna work out.
Yeah, yeah. It's a pity because I was really looking forward to a possible trailer, but it didn't really come as a surprise because it's been a while since we've heard anything. We had the 5 seconds of a teaser back in I don't know, was it in 2024? So it's been a while
It's
back.
been a while.
And we didn't hear anything. So I figure it's either that they're not really happy with what they can show in terms of the action, because in the trailer you would obviously have to show some action, and maybe the post production is just not that far, so it will look goofy. Or a delay, and the delay happened. But you have a theory on that, on
Well, I
why
want to
it's
hear what
happening.
Eric has to say.
Oh, well, I mean, mine's
Well,
pretty
what was your
similar to
immediate
Ricky.
reaction?
My
Yeah.
my immediate reaction to it was, yes, it was a bit of surprise, but it also was like, well, there's been no marketing on the show overall, which I just found kind of surprising, given how much House of the Dragon season 2, I think the marketing was like perfect. Uh so with Dunkin' Egg, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, it's been radio silence. It kind of makes sense. And right away, and I think it's interesting, that we have you here, is that for me, I'm seeing all the posts about it and all this stuff. And for me, it just kind of came down to, okay, there must be some sort of incompetence with HBO, all this other stuff. And you brought up in my stream, like about, what we're going to talk about today. Some of the more behind the scenes that I thought was a really great point in HBO Max and the rebrand. So I'll let you talk about that because you brought that up to me. So that's your idea. But I think initially it was like a mixed emotions in terms of just stuff coming out about the show, because we just had radio silence on the show for a while now, like Ricky talked about.
Well, to start with, the good news is I still think there's a decent chance we might still get the trailer on Sunday because HBO likes to pair big trailers with big season finales. Remember, this isn't Netflix. They have one foot in cable, and this is how we got the first trailer. They put it out live during the House of the Dragon season 2 finale. Well, first trailer. The coming in 2025, we got the 7 seconds of footage. They like to put things out. Just today, they put out the first teaser for It Welcome to Derry from Stephen King. So apparently their plan was never to put out a lot of trailers at the upfront, which was 6 days ago on Wednesday, that their plan was just at the upfront to get the laughs out of the way. They said, all right, we're renaming ourselves back to HBO Max, and here's the Superman trailer. And then they gradually portioned out new trailers throughout the week, I hope culminating in what we're going to see at Last of Us Season 2 finale. We might still... The trailer exists. They screened it privately for reporters.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it's existed. It was ready to... They ran it at the winter upfront, actually. It's existed for months. So we didn't know what it was. We haven't seen a description of it. But there's still a good chance we might get that trailer just because they've seen the negative backlash. They're not stupid. I mean, the House of the Dragon first teaser came out in fall before a summer release, so that was like 9 months earlier. They may or may not. I'm just saying, I'm like 50-50. It's not unreasonable to think they could. I'm not trying to people who are in the comments now are accusing me of copium. It's just they like to put things out during season finales, and they have been putting out trailers for other things.
Well, Dragon, it's always one of two things. You're either a
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Pope or you're a hater. There's no in
The bigger
between.
that I didn't freak out about the delay is, again, we knew that there was going to be a massive launch for HBO Max in Sky Atlantic region of Europe, first quarter of 2026. And this will be their biggest launch since they started. And I don't know if you can put the map up when you edit this together, that, well, their first big launch was across all of Latin America. It had a stroke on one day in 2021, but Sky Atlantic Zone is everything from the UK through Germany and Italy, also Austria and stuff in there. Okay, so the point is we knew there was this massive launch coming, and for my production videos, when I looked through their most recent letter to the shareholders, they openly state, we are worldwide in terms of subscriber reach to potential markets. Like Netflix is everywhere, Disney is in every country. Those are at 100% capacity. HBO Max is at 60% capacity of its potential global audience if they expand it to Sky Atlantic and India and Japan, which don't have it yet, and a couple of others. So that's why we have budget problems that lead to episode cuts, is because they didn't complete their international rollout because of the merger. We knew that this will... Yes?
Hence, they're trying to schedule the Duncan Egg premiere.
That they probably want that to be the flagship for that release. And some people didn't even know what Sky Atlantic was, and that in the days since this went, wait, doesn't Europe use the same distributor we use? And well, you're in Germany. Can you explain to the audience about Sky Atlantic more? And is they a nice service? I don't know.
It's a whole different thing in Germany because we have Sky Germany. We don't have Sky Atlantic, which is
it's a parent company. They're localized. Yeah.
It's basically the same thing, but we don't have access to HBO Max or Max or whatever. We watch all the HBO shows on Sky, and in turn, I think when we finally have when we finally have HBO Max in Germany, I don't think that Sky is gonna be alive for much longer. Because that's what's kept it pretty much, alive at this point.
But it was interesting the night that this came out that like British YouTubers like World of Westeros, when I said, "Oh, it's because of the launch," he went, "Oh, you're right. I hate Sky Atlantic so much." Versus having to explain to like American YouTubers they don't use HBO Max there yet. They're waiting for the launch. And from
that's something I didn't know as American. I didn't know that.
Oh, no. So from a business standpoint and from a fan standpoint, we want more people watching this show. And just think of the advertising if this is the face of a big international launch. That no, they're honoring it. I keep hearing Otto's voice, not slandering, honoring when they get the funeral. They're honoring them. They're making them the flagship of the Europe launch. That makes more sense. And
it does. So that's why I think Duncan Egg mainly got delayed. Not because of production problems, not because of reshoots, because of the scheduling.
No, that's the other thing. People were just instantly going, "Oh, there must be reshoots." It was already delayed since spring, and we haven't heard anything about reshoots. We would have heard something like they put out casting sheets and directors and logistics. We would have noticed if they were filming reshoots.
I mean, I think it's very clear it's not Duncan Egg. Like,
yeah, it is.
In terms of any way you want to argue this, I don't think it's Duncan Egg. I mean, even to go back, we were talking about the trailer. George R. R. Martin was fooled by a trailer coming out, and so that would that would lead you to believe he thought there was a trailer that's already been made, or maybe he's even seen it that was going to come out at some point.
I think they must have screened it. Yeah,
I have no idea how George got fooled by that trailer, by the way, because that's typical.
Because we're losing, we're losing the AI war. That the goddamn auto-generated channels have taken over YouTube, and they're not getting off their ass to actually clear them out. Yet when I post up a histories and lore animated video, you get demonetized for a month. What comes up when you type House of the Dragon into the search bar? The top things are auto-generated content. How do they miss that?
Yeah, well, it generates clicks, and I think that on this platform, you get away with a lot of stuff if you generate huge amounts of clicks. There's a lot of channels who put the HBO Max logo on there in the corner, and then it's official, and a lot of people got fooled. And George did too, but I thought that it was funny because why the fuck would Dunk be at the wall in season 1 of the show, you know? That's kind of crazy, but
at least a month. There was a trailer by Screen. A month later, that channel was demonetized, so at least they finally noticed.
It might have been the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, but okay. I'm sorry. I'm talking more coherently now that I'm not fighting my own echo. But just winteriscoming.net had a pretty negative article going, "This must be for scheduling reasons." It's not to fill a gap in their schedule. It's they want to give this the biggest launch possible, and so do we. And when I say first quarter, that is strictly defined. that could mean anything up to March 31st, but if you read the article about the upfront panel, he said winter, which could be February or even January. So
Yeah, hopefully.
I'm thinking January and hoping I get, and maybe we'll be surprised, but it's not that big of a delay versus a much bigger launch. Everything Francesca Orsi's the head of their drama division, she has been gushing over this and saying we're going to film seasons 2 and 3 back to back. So well, the other big problem is the long gaps between people were going the whole point of this show, it's the easier, smaller scale one that you can have a shorter turnaround. I think that in a row they want 1, 2, 3. They want spring of 26, spring of 27, spring of 28, and then we'll see what happens. That next year, I think they're going to film seasons 2 and 3 back to back and then air season 2 spring of 27. And if they aired it now, it wouldn't be every 12 months. If they push it to spring, it'll be both every 12 months and Big Sky Atlantic launch.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So that's why they did that, and that's good for us. Because you can delay the first season for a while because people aren't impatient. We are a small minority of people covering this. When you look at the mainstream channels, they do not even know they made a Dunk and Egg show, much less that it's ready to air and delayed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
I do want to clarify because I do think we kind of like went through it pretty quick. I
was ranting for a long time. It's your guys' turn now.
No, you're good. I just want to clarify on why we think it's not like a Dunk and Egg, like a Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It being the problem. It's that we know that this is going to be a small scale show just because it's not what House of the Dragon is. It's not what Game of Thrones is. It's not trying to be those things we would think anyway, of being like a big political drama with dragons, all that stuff. There isn't as much post-production work as something like House of the Dragon season 3 or season 2 or whatever. And so that's part of it. The other part of it is George R. R. Martin has seemed to almost confirm like he's seen like rough drafts of the episodes, like they're pretty far along. Like you guys have said, we've heard nothing in terms of there needing to be reshoots or schedule problems, anything like that. There's just been none of that. So if you're going to come at this from it's not what we've talked about, like it being related to the HBO Max stuff, then you're going to like transition it to being, okay, is it House of the Dragon related? I don't know if we want to then move to that kind of a topic.
Yeah. The other thing of just was this to give House of the Dragon a boost. Why that a happier way to say that is given that they're the ones that hamstringed season 2 by cutting off 2 episodes just as they were about to film and couldn't rewrite it. Why wouldn't we want HBO? They kind of owe us a boost, you know? That it's, I don't think they've lost confidence in the production team. I think they're worried that the audience has turned on them, regardless of what the show quality is, and that they need to win people back after a long break. I would want House of the Dragon to air like a month after Dunk and Egg as like a music festival. It's the opening act. And look how much problems we're having in the fandom now due to the long gaps between content that you want. There is such a thing as oversaturation. Marvel just said no more than 3 shows a year as a rule. But
they learned
we have the opposite problem that you want. It will help us preserve momentum, which House of the Dragon season 3 needs after studio meddling hurt season 2. So that isn't a sign of lack of confidence. I also have a separate video I just put up of during these earning calls for first quarter of this year, which were very good. Zaslav citing House of the Dragon by name is fueling their international launches. So no, they're still pretty confident now. So they're not hiding it. This is all. Yes, we'll get to the internal problems, but if they were truly giving up on House of the Dragon, they wouldn't care if it was getting a boost from Dunk and Egg.
Yeah.
So it's just synergy. They want one to build on the other.
I just want to talk on that. I mean, I personally think if you think A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is the thing giving the boost to House of the Dragon, I just don't think that's the case. House of the Dragon, regardless of what I think about it, I've made my opinions very, very clear. That's not what most people think. Like the House of the Dragon is still something that is very popular. It's still, it'll reach a wider audience. It's not that A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, in my opinion, will help that show. Like, yes, if A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is great and people love it, yeah, that'll build the hype for House of the Dragon. But I don't think they're banking on that at all. I think what some people have argued, I've even thought about this, is A Night of the Seven Kingdoms because it is so different from the other shows in Westeros that we've gotten so far with only House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones. It is so different. I've seen people argue. I'm not as much on this as I once was, but maybe the idea that you try to tie A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms closer to House of the Dragon to try and help that show, because it doesn't have as much recognizable, this is Westeros, this is Game of Thrones, all that stuff.
The best thing they can do is to have Aerion Brightflame attacking Dunk with the Valyrian steel dagger.
Oh, that's gonna happen. That's
I'm trolling Preston Jacobs because he said he would have a heart attack if they did that.
We're going to see it in dreams too. Don't worry, it's happening. I've already accepted it's happening.
I think that Aerion is going to threaten Tenzel with that dagger, and it's going to be that moment of, oh shit, here's that dagger. Wow, here's our connecting the dots thing. As long as they don't touch the White Walkers and the visions of Daeron the Drunken.
Well, why wouldn't they? Because the visions of the dragons coming back are part of it, but. Again, it's weird that we're going to get a Daeron before summer when we get the Daeron that we were expecting.
That's very true.
I mean, here's a random thought. Would you be opposed to, like, when Daeron is having dreams that he sees Helena in the astral plane?
Or God, absolutely.
Oh, I'd be pissed.
I would hate that.
I'd be pissed.
I would hate that.
I would hate, but they're probably...
Ricky would.
I think they're... No, I was half joking, but they're probably going to, like... I really hope Bloodraven shows up in season 1. He didn't in the first novella, but they already introduced I assume is the same actor in Daemon's vision.
Really? Is he part of season 1 of Dunk and Egg?
I hope so. They wouldn't tell. I mean, they don't list it publicly, but that's another thing about Dunk and Egg. We have no spoilers because the good thing about it is that it's a small scale, easy to make production. It's easy to hide. I mean, Rook's Rest was impossible to hide versus it was one tournament in one location. We have like 2 spy photos. We have nothing.
Oh, I know.
And there were no major leaks.
I know quite a few things. I might tell you later on off pod.
Are you still looking forward to it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Why do I need to? Why do I need to ask you? George R.R. Martin was fine with it, whatever it is.
Oh yeah. The guy who plays Aerion is fantastic. Apparently, he's knocking it out of the park.
Did you guys watch True Detective Night Country?
No, I stopped that season.
No, just because of the strikes. There was nothing on this past spring, and he was the lieutenant to Jodie Foster's detective, and he was really good. So that's what I knew him from. That they said this when he was cast, he'll be familiar to you as the guy from True Detective. But the thing is, his deputy was really nice as the young new guy. He is not. It was sort of like having this Rob Stark actor suddenly playing Joffrey. He's not. You wouldn't think he's Aerion, but he's got really good range.
So I want to bring up one more thing before we sort of move away from Dunk and Egg. I've talked about this. I'm kind of getting confused because I've done a live stream and I've also recorded a video, so I'm kind of trying to think about what my thoughts are on this. But the last thing I think we should talk about, because I think this has been the most popular thing I've seen on my chat and my community, is that possibly Dunk and Egg was pushed back because House of the Dragon season 3 needs more time and possibly it's going to get pushed back. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I'd love them to have more time to do it right, so whatever.
That's kind of what I am as well. Like, I want the show to be good, so if that is the case, like, that's fine. I'd like a little bit more transparency from HBO.
Today's day and age,
I know you're not going to get that.
That's about as transparent as it gets, and I really rate HBO because they've canceled that atrocious show Blood Moon. They've realized that was not the way around.
That was different leadership. That was I have the whole thing about it. The outgoing people before AT&T bought them out greenlit it just because it sounded good as a soundbite. It's a prequel about the White Walkers, but talk about it for 5 minutes, you realize there's no story there. There's all these problems with it. So when the new people came in, and this is still back in like 2020, they were like, "This is a crazy TV show." So different leadership entirely. It's the proverbial when the kid who is supposed to hand in a book report just writes the cover page, hands it to the teacher, then runs out the door. That they were faking it. They had no intention of really making that.
Well, gladly it never got released. Thankfully it never got released, and
I look forward to the day we get a documentary on like those, like one of those Werner Herzog famous documentaries of this insane unmade film that collapsed in production.
Oh yeah, I think they
Like Fitzcarraldo or something. But,
yeah.
It'll be funny when we got the documentary on. This is one of those Alan Smithy worst movies never released.